Hello and welcome to All Top 5s. All over the world there are believed to be places that a person can find an entrance to hell or the underworld. Usually these surround lakes, caves, or especially volcanic areas, and these places are reputed to be gates of hell. Number 5. Fengdu China. Also known as Fengdu Ghost City, this collection of buildings and structures was separated from the actual city of Fengdu and has now become a tourist attraction. In the Taoism religion, it's believed that Fengdu is an entrance into the underworld after long ago two men, Yin and Wang, came to the area to become immortals. Joining their names together, Yin Wan means King of Hell in Chinese, and this is how the legend began. In the temples and shrines adorning Fengdu, there are countless paintings and even statues of people being tortured. The dead are supposed to pass 3 tests before they can pass into the afterlife. There is the Bridge of Helplessness, a stone bridge that people must cross, guarded by demons who either permit people to cross or deny them passage. Any evildoers are pushed off the side and into the water below. Next, dead souls must be presented to the King of Hell, who will pass judgment on them in ghost-torturing pass. Finally, if they've passed the first 2 tests, the dead must be judged outside Tianzi Palace. They have to stand on one leg on a particular stone for 3 minutes. If they can manage it, then they're deemed good. If they fall off, however, they are considered evil, and, like those pushed into the water or noted by the King of Hell, they enter hell itself. Fengdu has been surrounded by underworldly imagery and legend for hundreds of years, and is still believed by many to be a gateway to hell on Earth. Number 4. Avernus Italy. The ancient Romans used to believe that Avernus, an ancient crater near Cumae in Italy, was the entrance to the underworld. Within that 2-mile-wide crater is Lake Avernus, popularly cited as the door to hell in the Aeneid by the Roman poet Virgil. The name Avernus stems from the ancient Greek word aornos, meaning without birds. This is because birds were seen to die as they flew over the lake, these deaths believed to be caused by toxic vapour escaping out of the crater from deep within the earth. Avernus even became another word for underworld in Roman literature. There are temples to Apollo and Jupiter built on its shores, as well as a grotto for the Cumaean Sibyl, a priestess from nearby Cumae, all showing how revered and perhaps feared Avernus was to the ancient Romans. Lakes like Lake Avernus are sometimes called Mephites or Mephites. This name comes from the Roman goddess of toxic fumes and noxious vapours, whose responsibility it is to protect people from malaria. There is certainly a correlation between these alleged portals to hell and volcanic or noxious geological activity, and Avernus is no exception. Number 3. Helen Township USA. In the state of Pennsylvania lies one of the earliest townships in the area, founded in 1736, Helen Township. There are 2 urban legends that hold even to this day, both stating that the 7 gates of hell reside in that area. The first version of the legend goes that there was a mental institution on Trout Run Road in Helen Township, tucked away from prying eyes. In the 19th century, the asylum caught fire, and because it was tucked away, it wasn't reached in time by the fire service. Most of those residing in the institution were said to have burned to death, and those who escaped into the woods were beaten to death by the guards. Gates were then allegedly put up to trap any other patients who were still in the woods, and became known as the Gates of Hell. The second version of the story is without an asylum. It states that a weird and mysterious doctor lived in that area of Helen Township and built these gates in the woods along an old path. Whichever of the 2 stories you hear, they both centre on these 7 gates to hell being built. It's said that anyone who manages to pass through all 7 gates will enter hell, although, allegedly, no one's ever been past the 5th gate. To make things even spookier, only one of the gates is visible during the day, but the others can be seen only in the dead of night. It's been considered an urban legend for quite some time, but some do believe that there is truth to this hellish story. Number 2. Mount Ohsu, Japan. At 2,884 feet high, Mount Ohsu definitely lives up to its name. It literally translates as Mount Fear. Actually a volcano that last erupted well over 200 years ago, it is widely believed to be the location of an entrance to hell. The popular myth is that a stream on the mountain that runs into Lake Ussuri nearby is a parallel of the Sanzu River, the river of three crossings, that the souls of the dead must cross to journey onwards to the afterlife. As a result of this, it's considered the place where the living world and the world of the dead join. If a person lived honestly and well in their life, they are considered to have an easier journey across this river, such as across a bridge. The less well they lived in life, however, the more likely they'll be forced to wade across, and if they were very bad, those waters would be teeming with snakes. The volcanic Mount Ohsu is complemented by sulfuric fumes and other noxious gases, and it's believed to be guarded by Jizo, of which there are many statues across the site. These Jizo are protectors said to come to the aid of children when they're accosted by the demons from hell. They carry a staff, a magic jewel, and their statues often wear kerchiefs wrapped around their heads and sit amongst gifts and offerings from many respectful visitors. Again, this site is fairly actively volcanic, with toxic fumes and a burnt, rocky landscape. Yet more reasons why it's considered hellish, which likely informed this myth's development over time. Number 1. Ohsu Castle, Czech Republic. Constructed in the 13th century as a centre for administration, Ohsu Castle sits north of Prague. It's Gothic in style and features a lot of rebuilds and improvements that reflect the changing styles over the centuries. The chapel in particular within this castle is widely believed to sit atop an enormous, impossibly deep hole that people say is the gateway to hell. Not only that, but stories tell of twisted abominations, spliced mixtures of humans and animals that have crawled out of this hole, presumably from the bowels of hell. Dark creatures with wings are also said to fly in and out and around the hole. The legend goes that when the castle was first built, nearby prisoners facing execution were offered a pardon and freedom if they agreed to be lowered into the hole by a rope. The idea was that they would be brought back up and tell the officials what they had seen down there, because no one knew. The first person to be lowered in started to scream only seconds into his descent. By the time he was pulled back up moments later, he had visibly aged by decades. Apparently, Ohsu Castle was built across this hole to serve as a barrier, trying to prevent anything crossing over from hell into our world, keeping any creatures that climbed out locked in the dark, thick-walled dungeons below. It's been recently investigated by Ghost Hunters International, Most Haunted, and RIP, a notable French paranormal investigation team. Whether there truly is a gateway to hell beneath Ohsu Castle or not is still a question people debate even to this day. And that's it from all top 5s for this week. There are other well-known supposed portals to hell, both ancient and modern, that I couldn't cover in this video. These 5 you've heard about today I chose for variety and because they struck me as particularly interesting. What do you think? Any other places that you would have included in the list? When discussing this in the comments, just remember to be polite and considerate because it makes everyone get along a lot better. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up because it really does help me out. You can click like or share it. Also, you can subscribe for a new video that comes out every single Tuesday on many different topics. So, peace and love to each and every one of you, and I'll see you all next time on All Top 5s.